Hey folks, it's Yannick Gwizdala. It's the Yannick Gwizdala podcast. We are going to talk numbers today. My most recent video was the building of this new stereo rig. Was really excited to get back on a larger platform. Just going to zoom out for everyone watching on YouTube a little bit so you get an idea of what I'm talking about in case you haven't seen that video yet. It's a pretty epic board build. There's a ton of new stuff on it, and it's all in stereo. We'll get to the watt and the routing and all of that in this episode of the podcast. But like I said, we're going to get to numbers. I set everyone a challenge to get in the comments and let me know what you thought it would cost to put this thing together. I think I mentioned in that video that it was kind of an eye-watering number. I'm going to run down it with you guys today because, full disclosure, I did not pay these kinds of prices for most of these pedals. Some of them are going to fit into the unobtainium category. They're maybe not made anymore. They're, version 1s or version 1.1s of pedals that have since moved on and got a bit of an upgrade, but as with many things, the older versions still sound great and are sought after. So I fall into that category in a couple of places on the board. So we're going to go through, look at some eye-watering numbers. Totally admit that I'd never be able to afford to buy this. So I'm right there with you. If I had to buy this from scratch right now, it'd be completely impossible. It's one of the benefits of being old and just having been around for a while and collecting a few of these things over the years. And of course, to have had some beneficial relationships with some of these really small one-person builders, Iron Ether in particular, and Three Leaf, two builders where alarm bells ring when you go to Reverb. Your bank manager's ringing, just close the page because the resale on these things is insane. And we'll do everything. We'll do everything right down to the case that I used to take this thing to the studio yesterday. The only thing we're not going to get into super specific details, just because it's a little bit harder to do it, because I make my own patch cables. I use Mogami. It's all nice, high quality stuff. I actually forget the company that I use for the plugs. So the only thing we're not going to talk about on this board in terms of the price is the cabling, which I gotta say is not gonna be cheap. We'll probably have to add a couple of $100 to it. Maybe if you didn't see the last video, if you didn't guess already, and you just looked at the wide shot of this board, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 pedals on the board. Maybe you want to get in the comments early doors right now before we start smashing the calculator and going on Reverb and looking together in real time what this thing might cost to put together. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think. I've had I'll tell you the range on the last video. I've had people get it as low as a couple of grand and as high as maybe 15 or something. So let's see where we fall on that, in that range. If we do, and we'll put all the numbers up. We'll actually come up with a final figure of what it might cost to put this freaking thing together, and why you would want to as well, use all these stereo pedals and go through all the pain in the ass of wiring it in stereo and powering it, all of those minor details that often get overlooked when building a board of this size. I will say before we get going on the numbers that we have some more bassist Book of Scales and Arpeggios in stock, physical copies. Look at this monster, 371 pages. It's the new book. It's in stock. We have recently moved back to, after many years, Shopify for our store platform because it just offers so many more options. I've been wanting to bundle physical books. Rather, you guys have been asking me, hey, can I get the physical book and the digital book in one product? We can finally offer that. We call them multimedia packages on the site. Everything's linked below. Everything's at the store. You can find it at yannickgwizdala.com. And we have basically every single physical book we offer for signed copies in stock right now. I don't think we've ever had that at one time. So pentatonic scales, altered 2/5, 10-minute manual, ultimate chop builders, sight reading, chordal harmony, the whole thing is in stock right now. There are a ton of new things over there. So go check out the new store, grab a signed copy of the book if you're into that kind of thing. And of course, you can get the digital version with it now if you get one of the multimedia packages. Most importantly, we are starting to offer free shipping all over the world. So go check out the page. There's a little bar at the top that tells you the criteria for free shipping, and it's time to give a little more value and have you spending less on the shipping portion of things and getting more value, getting actually more books, more information, more stuff to work on. So that out of the way, let's get into Reverb.com, one of the scariest places to be if you have a gear habit like I do. And let's get into putting this little price tag on this monstrous thing. I promised I'd do it. And here it is. Let's start right out front, off the board. I have two separate pedals that are not attached to the board, that kind of float around off to the side. The volume pedal, I have an Ernie Ball VP Junior, and I have an expression pedal. I'm using the Volume X Mini by Jim Dunlop. So let's throw those two bad boys in a Reverb and see what we come up with. I'm not screen recording. What is this called? Volume X Mini. Volume X Mini. Where is it? Here we go. What do we got? It's where I think what we'll do to keep it fair, because you could do a low end and a high end on this, because some of these things will be available used, despite the fact that they're still in production. I'm going to go with the new price. Some things are completely unobtainium and they're just going to be bonkers. We will get to that very shortly. But right away, I see the Dunlop Volume X Mini is $139.99. So $139.99. Boom. And we're up and running. I'm going to have to open new tabs, I think, so I don't lose all this stuff, just in case the old man in me kicks in and I suddenly close the whole thing or close my calculator. So let's get an Ernie Ball VP Junior tuner, no, VP Junior volume pedal. Some of these things, do they even make them anymore? There it is. Okay. This one says brand new. It's $120. It's just the regular silver one. So we'll go plus $119.99. And we're not even onto the board, and we're up to $260. So this should give you a little bit of an idea as to where, what part of the stratosphere this is heading into. So the first thing, it's an always on pedal. It's under the board. It's the JHS color box. Pretty sure those are somewhere in the 440, 450 range, right? There it is, 449. So plus straight up 449. So we're already over $700 and we've only got one pedal on the board. That comes into probably the most bonkers piece of gear I have on there in terms of what's available on Reverb. There is only one of these. I cannot possibly give it this price, although it's the only one. I find it really difficult. So it's the Octava, the 3-leaf audio Octava, the white one. I don't know if I can zoom out for everyone watching. Maybe I can give you a little shot of that. You guys should know what this one is all about. You can kind of see it down here. It's the first thing that's really doing something in terms of manipulating the sound. And it's crazy. There's only one. It says it's the Mark II from 2016. There's only one available. It's $3,299. Now, do we make this pedal board over $4,000 with only a volume pedal, a preamp, and an expression pedal and an octave pedal? I mean, that sounds pretty bonkers to me, but I do kind of have to go with the $32.99 because it's the only way of getting it right now on the internet. That really pains me to make it that expensive. When I initially did this, the eye-watering number I still was able to come up with at the end of the adding up, I gave it a price of about $700. I've been offered around $700 for this pedal to sell it many times over the past few years. But I am going to go with what's on Reverb. That's the plan here. So as much as it pains me, $3,299. Oh dear, oh dear. We're just in a whole other stratosphere now. Let's calm our nerves a bit and go to the Mantic Hulk. That's what's next in the signal chain. I believe this is still in production, but it seems there's only one available. It is $344.40. Okay, there's our Mantic Hulk. What is next? We got a Doom 2, 3-leaf audio Doom 2. I know they're sold out on the website. I'm going to go with the cheapest one I can find on here, because all of these are used, right? Nobody's saying that they're brand new. Great. All of these are used. I'll go with the cheapest one. Sort by price, low to high. Ouch, that's expensive. Okay, it's from 2024. So used, it can only be a few months old. It's $459. That is bonkers. Okay, we are almost at $5,000, and we've barely got out of octaves and fuzzes. So next we're going into another boutique one-person operation, Taylor over Frantabit, over Iron Ether rather. This is the Iron Ether Frantabit Bit Crusher. Are there any available? There are. There are 3 on Reverb right now. I also realized that if I ever wanted to buy doubles of this, unless I buy them right before I publish this video, you guys will probably go out and completely obliterate the market, and all these won't be available in about 5 minutes. So there are 3. The price range is $300, $314, or $374. I'll go with the cheapest one, I guess, just as long as it's the same as mine. Yes, I'm going to go with it's $300 plus 300. Boom. We're up over $5,000. Totally crazy. The Frantabit goes into maybe one of the cheaper pedals on the board, the Fredrik Effects Bug Crusher. Yes, I do have 2 bit crushers. Oh man, it's not that cheap. Holy crap. Brand new. Here we go. Fredrik Effects Bug Crusher, silver bug brand design, $178.88. Holy cow, not as I thought it was going to be about $100, but okay, $178.88, and the number is getting uncomfortable now. Here's a new addition for me on the board: Fairfield Circuitry, Randy's Revenge, the ring modulator. Had so much fun with this yesterday in the studio. Really, really awesome. They still make them. They're available brand new on Reverb, $299 right now. So that's plus $299. I should probably talk a little bit about what I was doing yesterday in the studio. I was filming some stuff for SBL, for Scott's bass lessons with Scott and Sharon. It was, to put it mildly, an intense day of filming and recording. I'm not going to give it away, because that will obviously spoil their surprise when some of these videos come out, but it was really intense, and there were some things I knew about. In fact, I knew about kind of conceptually all of it ahead of time, but I didn't know the exact components. You will have seen some of their videos, I'm sure, the challenge videos they do. So I was doing some of those, and I had obviously no idea what I was going to play ahead of time. I'm not telling you which songs I did, but I will say, I wonder how much I can give. I don't want to give anything away, but I do want to talk about the experience from my side of things. So maybe when you see these videos, hopefully by talking about it a little bit, you guys will go watch them when they come out and be intrigued to see. Let's just say I did 4 videos, and on one of them, my brain was melting down. Like, I was having such a mental block that at one point I thought about pulling the ripcord and saying, guys, I don't think I'm making it. Like, there was some self-doubt and like some real, just a gate closed in my brain. And then I kind of got over it with help from someone who I shall give massive props to when their video comes out, and I'm not going to give it away as to what happened, but it will be cool to break it down with you guys. Maybe we'll do not a reaction to it, but I'll talk you through what was actually going on in my head while this thing was going down. Needless to say, it was a unique experience. It was something I'd never done before, something I hadn't anticipated going down like that. And I'd seen a few of these videos beforehand. I tried to do a little bit of research, even though I had basically zero time the last 6 months. I watched a couple of things, but nothing really prepared me for that moment. So that would be an interesting one to look back on and go over and share with you guys when it comes out on their channel. And we got to make some music in a band situation, which was beautiful. I'll let that be a surprise as well, actually, as to who I took with me into the studio to record. It was really, really special. Just people I really, really love as musicians and as people. And yeah, it was an awesome day. Actually, why am I talking about that? Oh, and of course, I took the pedal board on this. So we did do a little pedal board thing. I used the pedal board in the recording and in some of the videos, and we talked about it a little bit. So there will be a much longer, way better filmed, way higher quality video about this thing that we're talking about right here on the SBL channel at some point this year. I mean, they're doing a ton of filming. Who knows when those videos are going to come out? I'm sure they'll space them out over the year. But at some point, you'll get a really good close-up look with 9 different camera angles. They were not sparing the horses on the production thing. It was quite a thing to see and to be in the middle of and to be a part of. Super fun. And we have arrived. Let's get back to the crunching the numbers here. We've arrived at the Iron Ether Zero Graph Deluxe, the filter pedal that's on the board. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. I'm going to be so curious to go back like 24 hours after this podcast, after this episode airs, and see how many of these are left. Because they are all just incredible pedals. I guess it would help if I was playing some of this stuff. It would really ignite you to go buy it. But the playing video on this board has to come at a later date because that's just a little more complicated, and I want to do it a little better than just a podcast episode. I want to get some better camera angles and maybe record some music specifically for you that I think this board is really great for. Where's a good price here? $349. That's actually cheaper than I've seen it for a long time. So you can get yourself an Iron Ether Zero Graph Deluxe for $349. And let's see, where does that go? So that's the last mono pedal, or the last part of the mono section of the signal chain. Now we go into the HX Stomp. I do have the white one, the Stormtrooper, on here. Let me see if that's going to change the price. I don't know whether that ramps up the price or not. It doesn't seem to. There seem to be some new ones here, just the same price as everything else. $699.99. So that's $699.99. Fantastic. God, this number's getting big. That's not a good feeling. So yeah, the Stomp splits everything into stereo, and we go out and down the right side. We put a Pladask Backlings. That sounds like an order in a Scandinavian restaurant. You'll have to Pladask Backlings, please. And I have no idea what either of those words mean, but it sounds like I'm ordering some fancy food more than it does granular delays. So we've got 2 here. Neither of them are cheap, and one is only $20 cheaper than the other. So we'll go with the cheaper one. They're used, they're not new, and it is $490. That is eye-watering. $495 for a mono delay that doesn't have tap tempo. I mean, come on. And it's on my board. If I was making fun of anyone, it would be me, and I'm not, because I love their stuff. It is really musical. So I'm putting that down the right side of the signal chain, and down the left side I have another Pladask pedal, and it is the Fabricat. They don't even have one. Oh, that's so sad. So now I've got to get off Reverb, Pladask Fabricat, and then ironically it will show me a previous listing on Reverb that is now sold, and we'll look at the last price. Current price for these pedals, it says in January 2025, 3 of them sold for an average of $432. Geez, it's another mono delay pedal with no tap tempo, and it's $400. What did I say? And hello, $432. Ouch. Okay, fantastic. I mean, not that fantastic if you're trying to buy one. A, there aren't any available, and B, even if there were, they'd cost a fortune. So then those 2, left and right, go into the UA Effects Delverb, slowly becoming one of my favorite new pedals. Had so many good results with it yesterday in the studio. It was one of the stars of the show. I know Scott was totally taken by it. Also by the name, the Ambience Companion, that little ditty underneath it. They're $349, brand new. They're a new-ish pedal. Plenty of them available. 10 of them right there on Reverb. I also have the UA Effects Next in the Chain Golden Reverberator. Golden Reverberator, which is a little more expensive, I think. Yeah, $399. So next up, $399. An absolutely amazing pedal. Like really, really happening. So it's 83.13 that we're at now. Holy cannoli. Okay, Golden Reverberator, we're almost there. We come out of that stereo into the Ditto X2 Looper by TC Electronic. Ditto X2 Looper. I think maybe this is the cheapest pedal on the board. Let's see, we got used. Any new ones? Brand new. There's a brand new one. Actually, I should buy this because I've had them too long and I've used them too much. And I think the motherboards get a bit crowded. Maybe there's a hard reset you can do, but they do end up getting a bit weird. And I've had them glitch out on me on gigs, which isn't great. So maybe I should get one as a backup, or maybe just look at new looping options. Who knows? But let's put that in the equation. It's 179. The number grows. Now I'm splitting out from that. We go under the board. Let me move the camera here. Open up the riser, we go under the board and get to a pair of Miura M2s. Now, there are definitely none of those on Reverb. But again, I'll go off Reverb, and try and find an old listing, and we'll go with I think they were about 280 new. Oh, yeah, there we go. There is an old listing from the Amp Shop Bass Exchange in North Hollywood. Okay, and it was $279.99. So $279.99, and I've got two of them, so that's $279.99. That is not cheap for compression. I'm also realizing that I own an HX1, and I could have used, for stereo compression, I could have used that as a stereo compressor. I may move some things around in light of that and switch some things out, make some minor adjustments to this setup. Lastly, in the signal chain is something brand new to me, something I'm really excited about. Again, not a sponsor in any way. I paid full price for this. It's the Walrus Audio Stereo or Canvas Stereo or Stereo Canvas. Really nifty little piece of gear. Brand new, $249.99. So we got $249.99. Now, those are all the pedals. Those are all the things that make sounds. Now what we have to get to are things like power and the actual pedal board itself and the case. I think it's good to do a complete, like I said before, as complete as a analysis in terms of the cost of what it takes to do this as possible. I've got, and this is not ideal by any means. I could definitely tighten this up or streamline this in terms of power, because right now I have a Chox DC7 with a Chox 4 as an extender. So a DC7 used. Do we have a brand new one? Brand new. Can I see brand new? Of course, they still make them brand new. 216. So it's plus 216 and 13 cents. That's a weird price. I've got one of those. I've got a Chox. And I've got two Chox 4s. One, like I said, is an extender to the DC7. Brand new, they are $149, it seems. So $149 plus $149, because I've got two of them. But that does mean that I need two power outlets to power this board. So it'd be really nice to get a much bigger, maybe Chox do a much bigger thing with or even a bigger expander on it, so I could get all of my gear into one power outlet in terms of powering this bad boy. The mothership, I think Scott was calling it yesterday. We were definitely attempting to contact aliens, that's for sure. And maybe we succeeded. There was some insane sounds coming out of it. Next, we've got to look at the actual platform I'm using. I'm using the Vertex pedal board with a riser, Vertex pedal board. And I'm using, it's not the Tour Compact. I know it's the 26 in terms of, what, did I spell that wrong? I spelled that wrong. It's the 26 by 14 is the sizing, and it's the slightly older one. They do some newer ones now, so I got to find the right one. I think it's 380. There it is. Yeah, it's called the Vertex Tour Compact. It's not that compact. I don't know. Everything's everything's relative, right? If you're playing in stadiums, then this is pocket size, but it's not light, that's for sure. But it is called the Vertex Tour Compact Pedal Board. It's 26 by 14, and it has a hinged riser, which is 26 by 8, and it's 3.5 inches high. So there we go. Let's add that in. That's $384.99. $384.99. Boom. What else do we have in it? Oh, the bag. It's the mono pedalboard bag. I don't know which size this is either. Mono pedalboard bag. Pedalboard. Why can't I spell pedal? I can spell pedalboard. I just can't really type it that well. What do we got here? No idea. I've actually got to look inside and check out the model number. This is me trying to be thorough. Let me know if this is boring or whether this is, or whether you like thorough investigations into all of this stuff. I'm a total nerd. I like to know. The curiosity drives me to be opening fucking pedalboard bags at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, it's the M80 series Tour 2.0. Let's check that one out. I don't see any on Reverb, but mono M80, and let's see what comes up on their website. M80 Tour 2.0. Let's see what that returns. Here we go. Ooh, not cheap. Okay, I've had this one for a while. Okay, so that's $179.99 plus $179.99. Boom. What am I missing? Okay, so that is, let's say we're there. We've got all the pedals, we've got all the power supplies, and we've even got a case. That's a gig bag. That's a soft case. That's not a Pelican. I'm going to go to my Amazon account because I've saved the Pelican case I know I need for it. And we could do a version that has the hard case, the real flying setup. Where am I? Shopping list. Boom. And it's the Pelican 16 something or the other. The 1615 Air. They are not that cheap as far as I remember. They're in the $385 range. So yeah, it's going to be about you could add another $150, $170, something like that to the price I'm about to give you if you want to do it in a flight case, where you can really hump it around the road, on the road. But then if you're flying, like actually flying and using a flight case, you're definitely going to run into some overweight in certain places. So be prepared for that. The cost doesn't stop when the build is finished. It just continues. You definitely have to, I was going to say you definitely have to pay the price to bring this stuff around. But of course it's an expense that hopefully you're offsetting by going out there and making great music and enjoying what you do and doing what you love. And this is just a component to that. It's a business expense, hopefully, and you can work it into overall kind of tour budgets and traveling budgets in general. Drum roll, please. You know, if I was recording this at 2 p.m, I'd have put graphics up for absolutely everything for YouTube, but it is late and it's NAMM week. It's totally insane. You're going to have to make do with probably a really average title here with the number on it. I have in front of me $10,399.33. Absolutely take that with a bucket of salt when it comes to the 3-leaf Octaver that was at $32.99. I'm sure you could take like a couple of grand off that. It is more realistic for what that pedal might go for. But literally, as I sit here, January 18th, 2025, that's what it cost you to put this whole thing together. Again, not including cables. You probably have to add another couple $100 for that. It's totally insane. You know, like I feel like, you know, I'm a big like av geek. Like I follow some aviation channels, or I watch them rather, and some people making some great, you know, really informative videos out there about traveling and how to do it, and if you'd like to fly business and first class, like how to do that and not have to spend full price. I should definitely talk now about how, like I said before, if I had to pay for all this stuff right now, it'd be impossible. It wouldn't happen. I don't have $10,400 just burning a hole in my pocket to build a pedal board on a Thursday, just because I feel like it. I've been doing this for a really long time, So that's not something that anyone can access immediately if you're just starting out. So it's always good to put your situation into context and understand where I'm coming from. This is not meant to be a flex at all. I am constantly astonished by the positions I find myself in, and very humbled by people who want to work together, and people who just are curious about my thoughts on their gear, and they send me stuff from time to time. But I did pay full price for a bunch of this stuff. For instance, basically the entire top row, the Golden Verve, the Del Verve, the Fabricat, the Backlings, the Randy's Revenge, the Frederick Effects Bug Crusher. Actually, no, I did get the Zero Graph from Iron Ether. The 2 Iron Ether pedals on here I got from Iron Ether for free. Of course, I play Line 6 products. I've been endorsing their products for a really long time. That's a pretty known fact about my situation, I'm sure, if you're not new to the channel. So I didn't pay for this Line 6 HX Stomp. And so that helps out. I was with TC Electronic for a very long time, many years ago. That's why I'm talking about buying a replacement for this at this point, because I'm no longer associated with them. But at the time, I did get some free pedals and have used them every single day since, especially the Ditto Loopers. And they just sort of wear out after a while. I may be an extreme use case or data point in that sense, because I use them so much. And I'm probably not a great commercial for the longevity of them either, although it depends what your concept of longevity is. Maybe you think 5 years out of a looper is great. So yeah, other things I've paid for on here, bought full price Mantic Hulk, all my power, actually most of this freaking board, yeah, all the power, the canvas, the stereo canvas. But yeah, definitely the one thing that's killing the board in terms of the cost is that 3 Leaf Audio Octaver, and that was a freebie a long time ago, a decade ago when they came out. Spencer was kind enough to hook me up with that, especially like I think my association with the OC2, as well as Tim, obviously, who the pedal is modeled after. It has part of his name in it. You know, there are a few of us in that world who have happened to have been around for long enough that we sort of have access to stuff like that. And very occasionally we get very lucky and we get thrown a free piece of gear here and there. And that's an amazing thing. I'm always immensely grateful for that, and it helps me make music. You know, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Like I said, this isn't a flex. This is just a little look into where I'm at musically right now, what I was able to put together for these like SBL sessions this week, and what I learned from that is that certain things actually didn't work. There are some things where I was asked to recreate a sound of a specific bass player, and kind of struggled with certain pedals that I was missing for that particular sound. Now, that sound, for instance, not really my thing at all. You wouldn't hear me doing that on the regular. So to kind of come up with that out of my board was sort of an impossible ask anyway. But it was interesting to think, even if it was like moving some things around the board, and maybe I'm going to move the filter a little bit further up. I don't think the filter's like quite in the place I want it in right now, for instance. So that's something that, you know, that I learned, and I can move around pretty easily. And also the first thing I thought about with the weight of this thing was like, oh man, I would love something that was close to this, but was miniaturized. You know, how much of this stuff could I get away with not using and putting on the previous board that maybe you've seen me using on the road that goes in the smaller Blue Pelican case? Like, how do I make it a little more mobile than this? Like, this is a big commitment. It's a massive sound. And a beautiful thing to work with and to use, to improvise with, but it is a big commitment in terms of weight and schlepping. And I still don't even own the Pelican case that it fits in, or any kind of hard case that I would tour with. So that is still an unknown, unfortunately. So when it gets back to touring again, sort of in the spring, when that starts taking off, it's going to be interesting how nervy I get, and if I just cave at the end of the day and strip it down and put it back on the smaller board. I will say that I don't think I'll take the 2 Miura M2s, for instance. I think I will get maybe even I'm loving these Universal Audio pedals, by the way, and I gotta say, I've paid for a bunch of them now, and I am absolutely going to go to the NAMM show this week and talk to them and see if there's any way of doing some sort of deal, if they would be interested in working together, because they are sort of breaking the bank to be buying any more, and they do have a stereo compressor, which would be fantastic to experiment with in the end of the chain. So they're, hopefully NAMM will bring up a few things this week. Maybe it might help me miniaturize this thing, but right now the sound is absolutely mega. And something that that was inspiring to put this thing together was the new album, the anniversary edition of Mystery to Me that came out almost 3 weeks ago. Wow, it's been out almost 3 weeks. It's going bonkers. I can't thank you guys enough. If you're listening to this and you're also listening to the Mystery to Me 20th anniversary edition, I really can't thank you enough for making it that release such a success just digitally with the streaming right now. It's getting a new lease of life. There are moments on it that I was able to kind of enhance, maybe make better sonic choices with, because I recorded a bunch of new bass on it. And while I was doing that, it sort of informed putting this board together. When I was re-recording the bass, I just had tons of things on the desk kind of haphazardly plugged in. They weren't attached to a pedal board. But as I was recording, I was thinking about, how am I going to take these sounds, and which elements of these sounds am I going to take on the road with me? That's how I came back to the 3Leaf Audio Octaver, the original one, the first one in the big white chassis. Obviously, I've been using the MXR Vintage Bass Octave for so long. It's a tiny pedal. It's a third of the size of this, but I used a bunch of the Octaver on the new Mystery to Me bass lines, the 20th anniversary. I'll play you a little bit, actually. And it's just clean bass, and then as soon as we get into the solo and the grooving, that's the Octaver. Of course, very OC2-esque. That's what it's modeled on. There were so many things I was able to catch, and there's a moment on Circles when we go from the second track on the record, when we go from the saxophone solo to the guitar solo. Somewhere in here. Yeah, this is the end of the horn solo. Right here. I get goosebumps listening to it, and that's a crazy thing to say about your own music. And fuck, we should get into that a little bit. Maybe that's worth a blog post or a newsletter post this week in a little more depth. But and I don't have the thought really properly formulated yet. But it was like something about making art that you enjoy. Like, I've spent my whole life making records, not my whole life, a large part of my professional career making records as an artist, and then never listening to them, never enjoying them, and just not making something that I enjoy, and not even here's where I don't have the thought properly formed, and I'm trying to crowbar it in here in real time. But the basic thing is that I told myself that it wasn't healthy to listen to those records ever, and then just didn't for years and years and years and years afterwards. And it wasn't until I came to re-record this that I started listening to it. I'm like, oh, I love all these musicians. I love the music we made. There's a reason I keep doing it, and it's because I enjoy the process so much, and I'm really proud of the outcome, and I shouldn't mind listening to my own music. It feels really, I always thought it was kind of maybe narcissistic or self-involved or involved way too much ego. And I was actually, more than that even, I was afraid that it would influence the next thing too much, that I would get stuck in like, oh, I love that thing, and if I listen to it over and over and over again, I'll keep making music like that. So at least now I'm able to differentiate between the two, like be like, okay, that was in the past and I do love it and I can listen to it, and I love listening to those other musicians that are on it, especially like way more than myself, of course. And I can compartmentalize it to the point where it doesn't have to influence what I do next. In fact, it may have gotten to a point now where it actually reminds me what I've already done. If I can listen to that stuff once in a while, it reminds me what I've already done, so I can steer clear of that in the future. I think the whole thing has shifted, and doing this 20th anniversary edition was just so much fun, and I ummed and ahed about whether to do the new bass or not, and was so happy I did. We were able to find so much focus in certain areas that we hadn't before, simply because of the new sounds I was using, especially with this groove here. I think that the mix is sitting in a completely different place, and the crazy thing is, Juan Pablo and I, we were talking, like, we listened back to the original one from 20 years ago, we're like, man, shit, it's not bad, like it sounds really good. It holds up as an album, especially considering the technology we had 20 years ago and the speed with which we did it. Rehearse Wednesday, record in one take Thursday, mix Friday, master Sunday, done. Like 4 days and done in one take. The speed with which we did it was insane. So the mix, for when you consider all of that, sounds ridiculous to me. Amazing. And then we were able to do something different with it this time around. And I'm so glad that we did, and that it is now worth going on vinyl. And I know I keep saying we're going to launch the pre-sale for the vinyl soon. We really are. It has just been unbelievably hectic. I'm amazed I snuck in an episode of the podcast here, which is already way longer than I thought it was going to be. I'll leave you with $10,399.33. It's the most bonkers number for a pedal board. Probably in the grand scheme of things, not that insane, right? When you think of some, a John Mayer or someone who's got a pair of Klons probably that cost that alone just for 2 pedals. There are bonkers boards out there, and systems and switching systems, and all the rock guys that for years and years and years that have used the massive rigs. But in my little world, that's a absolutely bonkers number for a bass pedal board. And if you have access to that stuff, go for it. Like, don't feel ashamed. And if you don't have access to all of this stuff, don't worry. There's a way in. There was a point in my life where I had a chorus pedal and an octave pedal, and I did just fine. And there was obviously a point in my life where I had no pedals, and I did just fine. So don't worry about it. Go at it piece by piece. One thing I will reveal from yesterday, and I think it's because it's not a new piece of information, it just came up in conversation in one of the videos. It was the question of what do you recommend to bass players when you get into pedals? And I always go back to saying, like, get a multi-effects. For me, it's the HX Stomp. For the price, if you can get the money together, it's obviously not a cheap pedal for a Stomp, but if you can get the money together, you suddenly have access to every kind of pedal, every type of effect. While you might not have access to every exact pedal, you have access to experiment with different sounds, and that can really inform the choices you make and where you decide to spend your money. It might help save you wasting some money and experimenting on a single pedal that you're like, oh, what is that? Like phase shifter. And then you're like, oh shit, I didn't need that at all. And then you got to sell it and try and move somewhere else. Well, that takes a few seconds in something like an HX Stomp. So I always kind of recommend starting there if you're brand new to it. And then if you're not, if you're old like me, and maybe if you have money, or you're just into gear and you've like collected pedals over the years, then you already know, it's just a bottomless pit of searching for cool things that make cool sounds. That's always what I've loved about it. I'm sure it's what I will always continue to love about it. Don't forget the Bassist Book of Scales and arpeggios, available, signed copies like this one available below. It's all linked in the web in the description of the video. Don't forget, we moved to a new website. We have so many more things, bundles to save money. We have free shipping all over the world once you hit different thresholds in your shopping cart. We're trying to, like I said, share the cost of shipping. It's become ridiculous, so we're trying to figure out a way to put more books in your hands and less, and it costs you less for something you don't really see that much value in, like shipping. So it's kind of a long one in the end. That number is still staring at me at the screen. $10,399.33. Jesus, that's like a small car or something. It's unbelievable. It's quite scary, actually. Something I don't take lightly. something. Maybe I'll take a little more care of this thing when I'm on the road. Maybe I'll pad it a little better when I'm moving around. All right, really appreciate you sticking around as long as you did. And if you did, I'm going to find a really weird random emoji that I think you should leave here. I think you should leave the one that is, of course, I think you should leave, there's a panda bear. Leave a panda bear emoji if you made it this far into the video. The panda bear emoji. I don't know why that one jumped out at me, but leave the panda bear emoji, and I promise I will read your comment. And if there's a question in your comment, I'll answer it as quickly as I possibly can. Really appreciate you spending some of your insanely precious time hanging out with me, nerding out over the depths, the bowels of my pedal board and the ridiculous numbers that we've managed to search out today on Revo. I'll see you guys and girls very soon.